Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life. Hey everybody, Brian Smith here with the Iron Team series and your Daily Influence. One of the things that we like to do here and we think we're pretty darn good at is, developing team. We don't call it the Iron Team series for no reason. And today's topic is designing a team structure that balances that organizational structure that's needed to create the efficiencies and the support needed, but also maximizing creativity within each individual and the larger individual that is the team itself. And we're going to speak to it, and we're going to get to it really quickly because it's actually quite simple to say, not as easy to implement. We humans like to get in the way of this, but if you can write these points down, come back to this and listen and practice some of what we're talking about in a smart way. And remember, smart for us is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or relative and timely. And everything we do here revolves around smart and our smart management. But if we develop our teams in a smart way and we communicate within those teams and we provide for support within them in this smart way, developing teams, the structure that's required to keep those teams together and still giving creativity can be quite easy. The one and most foundational is make sure we define clear roles and responsibilities. Who's going to do what? We're not talking about who's in charge, who's the boss, who's the leader. No. In the structures we like to develop, which we'll be talking about here in the future, is clearly define the roles, what those roles are. Who's doing the tactics? Who's doing the thinking? Who's doing the writing? Who's doing the research? Who's responsible for communicating these things? Which one-to-many are going to handle and manage the various topics that go into the goal of the team? And define them specifically. Measure, if you can, what's required from them. Make sure that when you give people a role, that it's attainable, understood, and that it's timely, that the people have the right amount of time, that this time right now that we're defining and putting together this team, that the people that are involved have the time to put into whatever it is you're trying to do within this area of influence. And within that group of people in that area of influence, encourage cross-functional teams. A team can be a person or many people, but encourage them to work with each other, to communicate with each other in this smart fashion. And ensure that you maintain or develop or adopt a flat hierarchy. It's not about who's in charge. It's about who has certain responsibility for each aspect of whatever it is you're doing as a team. And make sure that everybody buys in and foster an open and supportive culture within that team. Ensure that people who lack understanding can get it from the people who have understanding. Make sure that it's on a foundation of smart so that when they ask questions or they're working together, if there are things missing, if somebody's not being specific or asking for unattainable requests or tasks, that is simple. Hey, we're not being smart today. Can we get back to a smart conversation and develop a smart path to where it is we want to go, wherever that might be? And if we can speak to each other in this semi-objective way, understanding what our areas of influence are and what our responsibilities are, then we can continue to move forward and implement agile practices, which means when we have this understanding, we know what people can do. We have an understanding of people's area of influence and what their capabilities are. If there's not that understanding, we can't be agile because we don't know how to move through the issues we face. But if we build this in a smart way up front, if we understand who's on our team, what those areas of responsibilities are, when they have to be at a certain point in the process, then we can become agile about our requests and our deliveries. And let people do their job. Don't micromanage them. Empower them to get done what they've committed to. If we've determined that we're in a smart place, then we know that the people in our team, on our team, and what we're doing with that team are attainable and they're realistic. Let them do their job. And if they don't, find a way to hold them accountable through empowerment. Let them understand whatever challenge they have, look at that challenge, and instead of justifying why it's not being done, help them to learn from it and to move everybody forward. But let them lead that. Help them to lead that so that they learn about what it is that got in the way at that time. And above, or at least almost as importantly, is make sure that you give the people the right tools and the right resources to get done what you're asking them to do or what you're leading them through or what you're doing yourself. And if you don't have those tools and you don't say anything, then you own that as much as the person who doesn't provide them. If you find yourself lacking in resources or tools when you're on a team or when you're leading a team, you have to get them. And if you can't get them, you have to develop them. If you can't develop them, maybe then what you're trying to do isn't attainable. That means it wasn't smart to begin with. Also, encourage different types of learning and collaboration. If you see somebody succeeding, look at how they're doing things. Maybe you can learn something. If you see somebody struggling, same thing. Share with them how, especially if you have experience in this, how to get through that issue. That's collaboration, that's engagement, that's teamwork. Watching them fail and not providing support is tantamount to you taking on the end result as much as their failure. If you watch people fail and you could have helped them, you own that. To a certain extent, you are invested and have equity in that failure too. And establish clear goals along the way. Sometimes what we're trying to do can be reached quite quickly, but if it's a long process, create those milestones. Those are mini goals. And allow for experimentation within the road traveled, within these goal setting, within a smart structure for people to digress, to take an off-ramp and an on-ramp, to find new ways to reach where it is we're going with new and exciting ways to get that done. And then through the whole process, regularly review and adapt. And if you find something sticky that really feels good and is working, make it part of the structure. When you do that, you have a team structure that grows, but it allows everybody on the team to have equity in where they're at, equity in the development of the team, equity in the end results, but also equity in the failures. And when we share that in a team, it is a true team that reaches its place together. And when we do that well together, we can do it over and over and over again. Thanks for joining me today on the I Am Team series and the Daily Influence. I hope you'll join us again in the future. Make sure that you subscribe to us on social, Instagram, the I Am Team series, Facebook, the I Am Team series, and LinkedIn, the I Am Team series. Have a good day.